Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Three Buck Theater. And one of the most interesting factors when it comes to covering movie news and movie journalism has a lot to do with, well, the critics, especially how reviews are calculated and how they kind of play into the zeitgeist of movie culture here in, I want to say at least this country, right? But Rotten Tomatoes is a site that I oftentimes like to criticize. I think that it's wildly, vastly overstated in regards to its importance, but people still go back to it time and time and time again. Every time I do an aftermath, or I need to go and give a little bit more information about a movie or about how it's done, I go to Rotten Tomatoes because the information is there, and it is ultimately what most people look at as being the God's honest truth when it comes to determining how a movie did. But it's not the truth, and we still treat it like that, which is unfortunate. And I do it too, and I'm no better. But yesterday it came out that Rotten Tomatoes adds 600 critics as part of its inclusion push. Now, I want it to be known right off the bat that I feel that film is a meritocracy. The best product should be reviewed in the best way. That is not true about our society. That is not true about how people review movies. Look at Dave Chappelle, his new comedy series, Sticks and Stones on Netflix. Is doing real well with the fans, but Vice came out and was all like, "This is bad." A lot of other people came out when they went, "Now this is bad." But now people are watching it because these outlets are saying that it's terrible, and these outlets consider themselves to be inclusive. So it's a bit of a it can blow up in their face is what I'm trying to say. So let's take a look here at the article. Now, the majority of these new class reviewers are women, saying Rotten Tomatoes has added more than 600 individually approved critics in the year since the online review aggregation site made an aggressive push to diversify the pool of reviewers contributing to the Tomato Meter score. And look, I have pointed that out when I do these like RT recaps or I do breakdowns or whatever. Oftentimes the critics are white and male. That's true. Even when Brie Larson had come out against having all white male critics, and she ended up, being mansplained her own words by a white male critic, it was pretty funny because you can just kind of laugh and point that out and go, "You dumbass." Anyway, the majority of the new class, or 55%, are women, while 60% are freelancers and 10% publish reviews on modern platforms such as YouTube and podcasts. Let me just quickly point out there and say that 10%, so 60 people from YouTube and podcasts now qualify. And that I'm actually happy. When you talk about inclusion, I'm more happy about that than I am about the access media getting more space at the table. But a lot of these are freelancers. And that is not something that I'm actually for. And I'll tell you guys why. It's not because I think a freelancer doesn't do the work. No, that's not true at all. I've done plenty of freelance gigs. But the freelancers, if they're going to be with a specific outlet, then it's that outlet giving it a score. That's what the aggregate comes from. If this is a freelancer being given the opportunity to go and to submit as a freelance, so they go between different outlets every time. I'm not too sure how I like that. And that's just me being honest. But a YouTuber runs their own platform. A podcaster runs their own platform. So that is a little bit different. They're not viewed as freelancers. It's entirely different. Now, the company said it's also making meaningful progress in increasing the number of critics of color. All told, there are now nearly 5,000 approved critics, which is a lot of critics. Some might ask the question, do we need that many critics? I mean, I don't know. You're listening to me. I'm a critic. So, would you want to see me on Rotten Tomatoes? And that's honestly something I'm curious about. So I want you guys to let me know that. Definitely hit 1 in the chat and then the comment section if you wish I was part of this, because I'll apply. I have no problem with it. Now, it goes on to say here that there's still lots to do. It says Paul Yanover, the president of Fandango, Rotten Tomatoes parent company. He adds that the company is committing another $100,000 in grant money to support various industry initiatives fostering inclusion and criticism, such as covering travel to film festivals. And that, that gets under my skin a little bit because I can't afford to go to film festivals. I'd love to go to South by Southwest or Fantastic Fest. I live in the woods in Washington. You know, if I want to go to the Santa Barbara Film Festival and cover what comes out of that, that's out of pocket shit. I'm not going to get covered, because when they talk about this, these grants are never about equality, and they're more or less saying that themselves. You'd like it to be a fair playing field. It's just not. It's not, and that's one of the reasons why they're. I'm not saying that Rotten Tomatoes is getting woke. I wouldn't call this particular thing woke, to be honest with you. If out of 600 new people, 55% are women, that's what, 310? You know, out of 5,000, that's not really woke. Anyway, in August 2018, Rotten Tomatoes revamped this criteria with an increased focus on a person's individual qualification versus their affiliation with the publication, and that's good. A survey of the new critics revealed that most, or at least 73%, has seen an increase to site traffic and social media followers, but obstacles remain, as 43% said they're still unable to secure invitations to press screenings, and 61% said film festivals remain cost prohibitive. I'm just going to be, I'm going to be honest with you guys when it comes to this stuff. You don't need to go to film festivals, to be fair. And I'm saying that just in general. As much as I'd like to go, you don't really need to go. Usually, one way or another, these films make their way to streaming services. Independent film goers are in outside of New York and LA just aren't there. A lot of these movies that are being these independently shopped around movies that have done well for, let's say, A24, according to new reports, just aren't selling. People aren't going to go see them. People go to the movie theaters now for an experience. You know, I know Midsommar came out, and now they're doing a 4-hour cut. God knows why. A friend of mine explained that movie beat by beat to me, and it sounded utterly horrible and boring. And now they added an extra what, 2 hours to the movie? An hour to the movie? So you can be more bored? Not a lot of people are going to go waste the time to go and do that. Movie theaters have got to find a way to stay afloat, and that's going to be through innovations on their own end. Critics do not drive people to theaters. They really don't. People like me, and like this is going to sound insanely egotistical, but I do not mean it in that way. People like me who work in this space, podcasters, movie reviewers on YouTube, we do more to drive people to certain things. And the reason why is because it's more of a direct connection. How many of these critics are part of what you would call the elite left, right? Or like the left coast, or on Twitter, the pejorative of just a blue check mark. And as much as I am a left-leaning progressive, I can still get really mad at those blue check marks, because they are not any better than the people that they oftentimes argue against. Or that the things that they argue against, they're just as bigoted in their own right. And this is just me, and this is just what happens when you watch this stuff play out. So if Rotten Tomatoes wants to sit there and provide verified status to more people, then why not look at the actual people that are on the ground? Like, for example, I have a friend of mine, Louis Leica, from nukethefridge.com. Modest traffic for the size of the site. He goes to everything. Gets reviews out early, gets to see stuff early. He's on the ground. He lives in LA. We talk all the time. He goes to all these events. He covers it constantly. They contact him constantly. He can't get verified on Rotten Tomatoes. A dude, a movie blogging, a movie journalist, foot soldier on the ground in Los Angeles can't get verified on RottenTomatoes.com. You know, I mean, what did that tell you? It's a rigged system. It's one of the reasons why social media, with people who develop personalities, ultimately at the end of the day, do better. And that just happens to be where we find ourselves, you know, and you can agree with me or disagree with me on it. And I do want to hear your thoughts. I do want to hear your opinions. It's one of those things where a lot of people just kind of have their own mindset on it. They have their own thoughts, their own opinions. And I do want to hear yours. So be sure to head over to facebook.com/groups/$3 Theater, or come over here to the channel Monday through Thursday, 11 p.m. PST for Hollywood After Dark. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. And I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your opinions. Do you think this is the right move from Rotten Tomatoes? Is this going to open the door to more people? Or is it just kind of a pointless move that isn't going to save a faltering film industry? Your thoughts, let me know. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.